Welcome to the Agape Podcast. I'm Beck, a passionate, sold-out lover of Jesus who accidentally started a Christian singles ministry, and now I want to help as many people as possible to find their husband or wife while being super healthy and full of hope. So get ready for some real, raw talk about all things singleness and dating. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast. I am so excited to be joined by you today, and I'm even more excited to share my pregnancy testimony with you. That's right, I am pregnant. I am super excited. We found out just before Christmas, and it is an entire testimony of the Lord's goodness. You guys, the hand of the Father. Oh, I have never felt him so present, so actively speaking to me about something before. And I mean, you guys, a lot of you know my testimony about meeting my husband and how God was right there through that entire journey. But I would say even more so, I've just felt the nearness of the Lord during this pregnancy. And so I'm really excited to share with you just a testimony of what God has done. So basically, it all started in November. And just to preface this, I'm going to tell you guys, about 3 months after we got married, so let's say that was March, April, May, June. Around June, we had like a pregnancy scare, and it was kind of more in my head than anything. I wasn't actually pregnant, and there was really no way I could be pregnant, but I was like, oh my gosh, what if I'm pregnant? And I got really scared, and we were freaking out because we were just like not in the right place to be even thinking about having a child yet. And I remember we went to Walmart. We were there at 6 a.m. when they opened, going to get a pregnancy test, being like, oh my gosh, you know, please, no, we're not ready. I was like, Lord, if it's meant to be, like, it'll be fine. I know we'll be fine, but we'll be married 3 months. Like, we were together 3 months, 3.5 months before we got married. We just are not ready. We don't have the foundation that we need just yet. Anyway, it was negative. So all that to say, by the time November hit, all of a sudden Nick and I are starting to, I don't know, we're just, what we would say in Australia, we're getting a little clucky. You know, we see a baby and we're like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. And we're looking at each other like, that's different. And so it was really interesting because we would see things on the television and just be like, oh, look at the little baby, you know, and even Nick was starting to get a little bit cute like that. And so we're like, oh, I wonder what's happening. Okay, just seems like our hearts are changing. Okay. And then one night I had a dream. It's the beginning of November. I remember I went to sleep and I had a dream. And the dream was just of our little girl. We had a little girl. She was like a toddler, maybe a little bit older, maybe like 3 or 4. And she was really cute. And I just saw her face. And I remember thinking, oh, she's blonde, which is strange because Nick's a fire engine redhead and I'm very brunette. And so I was like, oh, that's strange. And I woke up and I thought, oh, how cute, you know. And I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, oh, one day, you know, we'll have a child and that'll be great. And then, and then I think the next night or one night after, I woke up from sleep. It was the morning, and I heard the Lord audibly say in my ear, you're going to be a great mum. And I've heard him say this to me before. And so I was like, oh, thanks, Jesus. Like, you know, oh, you're so kind. But I didn't really think anything else of it. I was like, I am going to be a great mom. Yeah. And then I just went on with my day. But something different happened than every other time I've heard the Lord speak to me about this. It was crazy. I felt the tangible presence of the Lord completely around me for 3 days. It was like I was walking on a cloud. It was like I was flying. I don't want to use drug references, but if you've ever been high or done anything like that, before I was a Christian, I had tried something like, it was almost like that. It wasn't like that, but it's the closest thing that I could possibly describe. It was like I was floating on a cloud. And so I was like, Lord, what are you, like, am I pregnant? Am I about to get pregnant? Like, you're really speaking to me about something and I'm really feeling your presence on this. So like, maybe I'm pregnant. And without giving it too much information, I had just had my period. So I was like, well, I have to wait like another month to find out if I actually am. So it was a really crazy month. In November, I was so nauseous. I was smelling everything, picking up on every smell. Every symptom that you're meant to have when you're pregnant, I was having. And so I was like, wow, I think I actually might be pregnant. And so Nick and I were kind of treating it like I was pregnant. And then we kind of said also, hey, even if we're not, I said to him like, hey, let's get pregnant. And so we were like, okay, like, obviously the Lord's doing something. He's on something. I was like, hey, well, who knows where this is going to go, but we can like, it opened us up so much more to even the possibility that we were like, okay, well, let's see what happens, So it was really fun. Anyway, and I remember I went away to Harrisburg, Oregon for a mission trip, and we were ministering. And I was sharing a bed with a girl, and she woke up next to me, and she said, hey, did you take a pregnancy test last night? And I said, no. Why? And she's like, because I woke up and I saw a pregnancy test next to you on the table. And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, what did it say? And so she literally told me, like, after a little bit of coaxing, yeah, I saw a test next to you, and it said it was positive. It said you were pregnant. And I was like, wow, okay. And so all during this time, we were kind of ramping up to launch our Kingdom dating site. It was going to go live on Thanksgiving Day. So I'm like, maybe this is like a spiritual thing. Maybe it's like, not in the natural. It's like a spiritual, thing. And I remember even journaling about it, and I felt the Lord say, no, this is in the natural. Like, you're actually going to be pregnant. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just kind of getting my heart ready, and I don't really think I even thought through 100% what that means. I still don't think I fully understand. But then Thanksgiving Day came, and it was awesome. But unfortunately, my time of the month arrived, but we also launched Agape, the Kingdom dating platform. And I remember being just quite disappointed, actually, thinking, oh my goodness, like, Lord, you've been speaking to me all month. For the last 3.5 weeks, I felt pregnant. I've been kind of talking to people about it. I really felt like you were on something. Like, what's going on, Jesus? And I really didn't really hear anything. I just felt like to have faith for it. And I thought, okay, well, maybe like it could still happen, but I know I definitely am not pregnant right now. So anyway, it was a massive moment of trust, and I thought, well, maybe it was just a spiritual thing. Maybe I heard wrong about it being, in the natural. Maybe it was just birthing something new, which I thought, geez, Lord, like, I feel like there's better ways you could have told me this, because I was feeling really nauseous, and, I feel like I could have gone without that. I still don't know what November was about. I haven't figured it out yet, but I really was experiencing like all the symptoms. Anyway, so then we kind of get over it. I'm a little bit disappointed on Thanksgiving Day, but we move on and we go, okay, well, we can just kind of start trying and see what happens. And so I don't necessarily forget about it, but I kind of just put it on the back burner because I don't want to be stressed about it. And, I'm thinking this would be great, but we're not in any hurry. I just really felt the Lord on it. So anyway, December starts coming around, and I'm like, it's getting closer to my time of the month, and I'm thinking, I think I'm pregnant. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I am. I feel like I'm not going to get my time of the month. And so on the 23rd of December, I take a test, and lo and behold, I take 3 actually, and they're all positive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. But unfortunately, my husband's at work, and our roommate, Sam, is home. And so I'm trying to keep this in and be like, I can't tell him before I tell my husband. So he's like, I'm like kind of giddy and running around being all funny because I was excited, but I was trying not to show it too much. But I was like, I think I must have started singing at one point, and Sam's like, so just says to me, are you okay? Are you having a stroke? Are you dying? Are you okay? I was like, no, I'm fine. Just having a really great day. And he just kind of gave me a side look. And it was really cool because when Nick came home, I had gone out and bought like a little baby rattle, and I had the pregnancy test in there, and I was like, hey, I have a Christmas present for you ahead of time. And I gave him the present, and he was just like, what? And we both kind of thought, hey, I think we might be, but we're not quite sure. So he was sort of expecting it, and he was super excited, super surprised, a little overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? And so, yeah, it was really cool. And then he said to me, hang on, I've got a present for you. And I was like, okay. The week before, he'd gone Christmas shopping to get Christmas gifts for me. And he got me to close my eyes. He put a box in my hand. And when I opened my eyes, there was little baby Converse in the exact same color that I didn't know. But on Christmas Day, he gave me my own set of Converse, which were the exact same baby blue. Well, it's like a blue. I love blue Converse, and I had them before, but they were really old. So I knew he was buying me another pair. And so he had bought like a little booty, like the baby version of those Converse, and he gave them to me. And he actually said, like, the week before, he saw them and he felt the Lord say to buy them as a prophetic act, because he just knew something was about to happen. And so it was just the incredible goodness of God, that he has spoken to us through this process. Like, most people find out that they're pregnant when they, miss their period or something happens, but we really just knew what was coming. Like, God had spoken so clearly. It didn't quite make sense around Thanksgiving, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to continue to put my trust and my faith in what God's doing. Like, in his beautiful grace, he's choosing to speak to us about this. And to be honest, I've been really busy doing a lot of work, like haven't been as present with the Father, haven't been as good with my God time every day like I have in really active seasons. Things do change when you get married, and we're still adjusting. And so just the fact that there's no performance, there's nothing that I'm doing to try and get closer to the Lord necessarily, more than any other time, but he chose to bring me into, hey, this is what's going to happen to you, and I'm going to walk with you every step of the way. And so we found out we were pregnant on the 23rd of December, and which is really cool because it was 1 year and 1 month to the day after Nick and I had our conversation to become, not had our conversation, when we became officially boyfriend and girlfriend. So November 23rd, 2020, we became boyfriend and girlfriend officially. And then December 23rd, 2021, we found out we were pregnant. So God's definitely doing something, because we had a word about getting married, and we had a word about having a child, and everything that literally we've had words about has happened. And my roommate just reminded me that in first year I had a dream with 3 keys, and it was a husband, a house, and then a child. Actually, I saw a son in that picture, but we both really feel like it's a girl, which is really funny. Because my husband really, I found pretty much every guy wants a boy, at least initially, or they'll talk a lot about, whenever they're referring to a baby, they'll talk about him. But he even said, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I also think it's a girl. And so we just have this feeling. I don't know if it will be, but that's just kind of what's on my heart. So anyway, we found out we're pregnant, and then I got to go in for a test a couple of days ago, and everything was confirmed, and it was really beautiful. And the really cool thing about it was, if you guys know anything about my testimony, about how I met Nick, if you've listened to any of our story, you'll know that pretty much for 2 years, pretty much every day, I would see at least one swan. And it was all about God's promise to me that I will find my husband. My husband is coming. And I would see swans and swanson everywhere. And I remember always thinking, oh, the 2 swans will come together and have a son. And I always thought of like son as like offspring, not necessarily like son of God. Like we get to be sons of God. Like even women get to be sons of God, I thought of it more like that. But literally for like 2 years, I would take a picture every time. I have like probably thousands of photos on my phone and on my old phones of swans all the time. I'm just seeing swans, seeing swans. Anyway, after we got married, that kind of died down. And I was like, okay, the season of seeing swans has ended. But the beautiful thing was, the nurse that told me I was pregnant, who rejoiced with me, who prayed with me, because it was a Christian organization that I went and had my test done at, she had her name tag on, and her last name was Swanson. And I remember just kind of crying internally. Like I had a few tears, I think, at just the Lord's faithfulness and his goodness. The fact that he's still speaking through other people. He's still showing me signs. Hey, I'm right here. I'm with you. Like this is meant to be. And so it's definitely been a really interesting journey, but I just want to encourage you, whatever you're going through, like the Lord is so present. He wants to speak to you about things. Heck, he's speaking to me about things that I'm not really even asking questions about, you know? And it's great because the things that are on his heart aren't even necessarily the things that we're asking him about. I've heard so many people say like, you know, I was like, Lord, why can't I date? Or I want to be dating. And when they actually stop to listen to like, hey, why is none of this working for me? God says, hey, you know, this isn't your dating season. This is actually a season to buy a house. You're trying to open a door that isn't ready to be opened yet, but I want you to get ready for that woman that you have. And so literally this person for like 3 years had been trying to buy a house, and within 3 months they had one after that, and the Lord just opened all the doors. And so I just love the goodness of God. If we listen and we tune in, he is speaking to us. He's speaking to us all, like through everything around us. And so, yeah, we're really excited. We didn't wait till 12 weeks to make the announcement. I think personally for me, I was just like, I don't want to partner with fear that, you know, something will go wrong within these first 12 weeks and we can't tell everybody. Mainly because God has just spoken so much up until this point. I just really trust in that. But also, my mentor had a really good perspective. She actually lost a child, and she said, you know, she lost a child and she hadn't told everyone that she was pregnant, and it felt a lot more lonely and a lot more isolating to go through that because people would be asking her like, oh, are you okay? What's going on? And she wouldn't want to recount the entire story to every single person because nobody knew. So even when something did happen, she was like, I wish I had have just told people I was pregnant, because then people could have been with me through the process and the journey. I wouldn't have to explain every time and kind of relive it. And so, I mean, worst case scenario, I'm like, I still think it's better if people know, and we kind of put it out there. So yeah, I'd love to say it's been great, but I've been super sick, so sick that I haven't been able to get off the couch for like 4 days. And Nick, my husband, guys, marry an incredible man. Ladies, marry somebody who will just love you through this season, because this is when push comes to shove. Like, are they going to be there? And he has been right there. What do you need? He's held me while I've cried. He's literally come home from things to just like, because I can't get up, to like make me food, make me toast, because that's all I could handle at one point. Just, you know, and I'm trying to encourage him to go, hey, do things without me, you're fine. But as soon as I'm like, oh my gosh, I need you, 10 minutes, within 10 minutes, he's home. You know, and he hates leaving me, which is so sweet, but I'm like, go out, have fun. Like, you know, or even the other day, he had the opportunity to, go snowboarding, and that's like his love language. He hasn't had a chance to do it for the last 2 or 3 years, and he just got his board. He was super excited, and I was encouraging him, no, I'm fine, go. And he came back in, and he said he had sat in the car and his windshield wiper stopped working, and he just took it as a sign from the Lord. He was like, I knew I wasn't meant to go. And so I'm just going to stay with you for the day. And he literally just sat with me while I was miserable, rather than doing the fun thing, rather than doing the thing that he would want to do, just sat with me. And to be honest, you have a lot of hormones going on during this time. So I could honestly say I've not been my best representation of myself. Ladies, there is like rage hormones that come out. There is like anger. Luckily, it's only happened once, but I had like this explosion of anger where I was like, I felt hatred, like physical hatred, like I've never felt before in my life. And I was like, like losing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not who I am. Like, Jesus, please help. Okay, this is just hormones. I need to take a step back, because I've never felt like that kind of anger before. So yeah, it's just a really magical time, you know? So much happens, but I'm like, Lord, this baby better be amazing. Like, it better be like incredible, because I feel terrible right now, and I just need a little bit of vision for it. Like, what's this child like? Because right now it's so small and it doesn't really feel real, and I just feel really sick. So like, just give me a vision for the actual baby, and like the end, the victory, getting past this awfulness of just feeling terrible and trying so many things and still feeling so terrible. But God is good, and it'll be fine, and we will get through it, and at the end we'll have a baby. And it's just been really awesome, even just researching, pain-free childbirth, supernatural childbirth. This is something that has been on my heart ever since I was at Catch the Fire School of Ministry in Toronto, where one of the leaders was kind of talking about her pain-free childbirth, and just the presence of the Lord, and just the intimacy and the beauty that comes from birthing a child. It still feels so surreal in my mind. But I just want to share this with you because I'm just being real and raw. Like, it's not as glamorous as everyone thinks. It's fun, it's exciting, it's also super hard already. And I'm sure it's just going to continue to be that little roller coaster. I'm also just sharing it with you to remind you that God is in your life. He has a plan for you. He knows the steps that you're going to take. He is leading you and guiding you if you'll just tune into his voice. I spent so many hours every day just in the throne room. And so I really feel like that the intimacy that the Lord and I cultivated carries us through times where, I'm more busy than I've been before, or I'm not able to just sit and spend 6 hours like I used to be able to with him. But we know each other now. We know each other's voice. We know what we feel like, and I can just still come to him. I can still ask him questions throughout my day. I can still be engaged. It just looks different, and he's still right there. And he wants to do that for you as well. And so I just want to pray over you. Father, I pray for each person listening that you will speak to them about the season that they're in. You'll speak to them and give them a vision for the future. Give them a vision for the pain that they're going through. Give them a vision for the discomfort that they're in right now. Whatever season that they're in, Lord, I pray for a vision of where you're taking them. I pray for a word, something that will bring hope and encouragement. I pray that they will dream dreams that you have given them, that you'll speak to them through the night. Father, I ask that you'll pour out your spirit upon them and minister to them. I thank you for each of their hearts, and I thank you that you love them. You've called them and you've designed them uniquely and with a purpose, and their life is valuable. Father, I just thank you for each person listening. I bless them with incredible marriages and fruitful marriages, that they will multiply and advance the kingdom. Now I ask this in your name. Amen. Guys, have an incredible day. You are such a blessing. Thank you so much for listening. I am just going to keep praying that over you. He has a plan for you, and you're incredible.